experience the power of the resurrection. And I was just thinking about that this morning. Just like, why would Paul want to suffer? Well, he wants to be closer to Jesus. He wants to feel what Jesus felt. You know, what he can. He wants a closer relationship daily with Christ. And I just kind of see that with this too. You know, God has a plan for us to be a witness on this earth, and we keep heaven knowing that that's where we're going as Christians if we made a decision for Him. But we also know that He has a plan for us down here to be witnesses, and to, He told us to go out into all the world and to be witnesses, and to share the truth of the gospel. It doesn't mean everybody's going to accept it, but it's our job to plant the seed and live for Christ while we're here. Keep it all in perspective, I guess.
Even if the earth, perspective of on the earth, will never truly satisfy. Will never truly satisfy. And the weakness is, let's say, as much as
You're open minded.
did prior to writing the Narnia books, or anything like it.
Good friend with Tolkien.
It was.
Kind of.
Anything else about it?
He was an apologist, Christian apologist, but he was an atheist first.
He was an atheist.
Right.
Atheist. A unashamed atheist. What's the difference between agnostic and atheist?
Atheist means that there is no God. Agnostic
Says there might be. Agnostic people would say there might be, but we don't consider it. Not able to know that. So he was very unashamed atheist. And you know what happened next? Come on, you read all these books and Horse and the Boys, Silver Chair, come on, good books. It's lovely.
Yeah, I mean, he went out and tried to disprove the existence of God, and in turn he came up with basically proved that God did exist in himself, and came up with a quote saying that Christianity is important, it's of the utmost importance, and it's not, it's of no importance at all, but it's that it can't be moderately important.
Do you remember how he got to that point? By chance?
It's been bad.
Absolutely miserable. And he's going on about this to his friend, Tolkien. And he's taking a walk with Tolkien, and he's like, I'm miserable. I have everything, life should be going fine. Because he's aiming at the earth. And Tolkien, being far wiser than me, and probably more reserved, sat there and listened. And after he's hashing it all out, Tolkien looks at him and says, there really is something bigger than you. And, I can almost see C.S. Lewis rolling his eyes like, here we go again. And as Tolkien breaks down the need for Christ in our own life, and being a divine creator that made each one of you and me for a purpose.
Amen.
Life's not fair. I'm not 6'8", 220 pounds, with full head of hair. No, fine. And God made me exactly the way He wanted me to be, and that's what Tolkien waxes eloquently to C.S. Lewis. And C.S. Lewis, through the vision of the Holy Spirit, comes to Christ just by basically complaining against him. This person that you've been fighting your whole life, he's real. And anyway, super cool. Anybody else know anything caveat about what J.R. Tolkien thought of C.S. Lewis, though? Just for the record, Tolkien actually said that he hated the Narnia series. He's like, he didn't want to tell C.S. Lewis that. He was like, it just made no sense to him. But then we look at the Lord of the Rings series, and it's like, where did you come up with that?
Well, he thought it was too blunt. It was like, obviously you have Jesus' character, obviously you have this, obviously you have that. He thought it was just
simple, but also, like, even when you look at Tolkien's review of The Silver Chair, he was like, you know, why, or, you know, several of the things were, but he didn't really want to tell his story. Anyway, all right. Hey, good job yesterday. I did not get through everything, which is okay. We'll play a little bit of catch up next week. Need to get through this today. Here's how today's going to go down. I'm going to roll through this lecture between now and 8. We're going to go out and hopefully put some fires out. Lyle Reethy wants to go through from administration's side of it, safety and the requirements that he's looking for in safety, and then he wants you logged into Prism. I told you this already. I foretold you that you're supposed to go ahead and log into this. Okay, I have somebody put his head down. So we'll have to get that, because it was only good for 24 hours. So you'll have to reopen that, or I'll have to lose it. Because you'll have to log in when you do engine runs. Even the flight side does the same thing. Get in there and fill out the little safety sheet before you can start the engine. Okay? Just protocol, and we're going to abide by it. Right? Yep.
Is that before every single engine run? Every single engine run.
There is an app, is that correct?
Up front, yeah. Okay, let's roll through this, okay? So, ground ops, ground operations. The reason why I'm going through this is so that when you get outside, you can just immediately set stuff on fire, okay? And Patty's very charisma. She's very excitable about it. She's like, yeah, let's make it bigger. Let's make it bigger. So we'll have a good time. Okay. So understand types of fire, understand fire extinguisher types, and recognize use for specific fires. Good. You notice that Jonathan moved back because of all my southern jokes. Okay. All right, fire extinguishers. So objective, fire safety, fire protection. There's 4 classes of fires. Types and operation of fire extinguishers. How to inspect a fire extinguisher, identify a fire extinguisher, and use fire extinguishers. Okay, 3 things I need for an engine to run. What are 3 things for any engine to run?
Compression.
3 things. All 3.
Air, fire, and fuel.
Air, fuel, spark. Or air, fire, fuel. Okay, air, fuel, spark. Air, fuel, spark. Air, fuel, spark. Okay, you can't walk out to Tesla and things like that, but you can walk out to any engine, you know, a Briggs or an aviation engine, such as this cute little baby here, and think, man, it's not running right. I need 3 things for the engine to run: air, fuel, spark. Well, in a fire situation, we don't want fires, but in a fire situation, we need oxygen or air, we need fuel, and we need heat. Okay? All right, everybody got that? Air, fuel, spark, oxygen, fuel, and heat. Okay. Burning or combustion, rapid oxidation combined with noticeable release of heat and light. 3 ingredients need to be in balance. Remove any of the 3 ingredients of a fire and the fire goes out. Ooh, what type of fire extinguisher specifically attacks the oxygen side of that? CO2. CO2 does that. And how does it, okay, I don't know if I can fully understand how it does that, but it uses basically super cold, gets in there and freezes or stops one side of it, okay? So you're stopping, and it's very effective in aviation without damaging the engine. We prefer CO2 on every engine run, okay? Every engine run, yes sir?
And after you use it, is there any like cleanup or?
No, there's not. And it's very effective for those of you missionaries. We lived in a country that had 28 different poisonous snakes. My wife had one in the kitchen from from here to where Shane's at, you could debilitate a poisonous snake on the spot. Super amazing, and it gave me an opportunity to go find out with a machete and then kill it. But, just saying, personal experience, you can shoot it from here to the wall. CO2 fire extinguishers, it's a necessity for anyone going to the mission field. Wife needs to have one, you need to have one somewhere. Yep.
Is that like the normal red ones, or is that?
No, good. So, here's our little friend. This is a dry chemical. When it's done, it leaves garbage everywhere. Okay? Highly damaging aircraft, induction systems, air boxes, but saving your life. So, this one, you're going to redo a whole lot. How do you tell right off the bat? Well, besides these little cute codes of fire types, you have a gauge on it. Okay? You have a gauge. CO2 does not have a gauge. Does not. They do it based on weight of the container. Okay? So, face value, just to look at it, it has a gauge, not a CO2 type. Just quick, boom. Okay? We have 3 CO2s in our hangar. Okay? 2 by the far outside big door, 2 bigger ones, and 1 inside the tool room as a backup. Okay? And the reason why it's in the tool room is because if somebody's working on a car and we have, an issue there, we can at least grab it quickly. Will this one put an engine fire out? Yes. But oh my word, it will leave everything caked in white powder.
And that works by removing the oxygen as well.
This one or the other?
No doubt.
Yeah, no, I got to go look at my notes. Does it remove the oxygen? No, I actually think it, yes.
Most aircraft have usually been this type of function with the gauge, because the checklist is supposed to check the gauge. Why? Why don't they
Hold
have
on,
a CO2?
are you in the fire, are you in the aircraft?
Yes.
No, it's not. I have one, but if I pass it around, you gotta promise not to drop it. It's like $1,400. Inside the aircraft, we use halon, okay? Halon, you will not see this often. This is halon, or now the code name, because of all good things they change, is now code name, which is eco-friendly, is halotron, okay? Halon or halotron, okay? It would be this style, and you see the green label, okay? I'm trying to make a point that the only one that doesn't have a gauge is a CO2, okay? The other 3 types do, okay? So you got dry chemical, we've got the one in the metal shop, the yellow one.
The D.
Yeah, the D, it will have one, and then the halotron does, okay? But the only one that doesn't have a gauge would be a CO2. That would just be quick to look and say, if it's a fire though, grab a single fire extinguisher, put it out, okay?
CO2 is the most effective, or how does this compare?
Yes, CO2. The reason why we use this in the cockpit is because this is super good for electrical fire to put it out. And because you're so close to all these wonderful gadgets in front of you, to be able to put it out pretty quickly. Okay, yes?
What will either of these do? Nothing?
That one will probably tick it off, but it'll still come at you, because it's reptilian, so therefore you freeze it, CO2 freezes it, it debilitates it immediately. So, all right, I'm gonna pass it around. This is still good for now. You don't drop it. All right. So go back to the dry chemical. It's more putting a lather on it, snuffing it out versus CO2 sucks the air out of it. Yes.
Is CO2 still rated AVG?
I think so. I have to look on the side of the CO2 bottle. Yep. Okay, classifications: ordinary fire, flammable, electrical, and combustible. So D would go back to your yellow fire extinguisher, yellow fire extinguisher. Okay, so class A, wood, cloth, paper, or upholsteries. Class B, petroleum, liquids, grease, and solvents. C, energized electrical wiring and equipment. Does that one say ABC on it? Jed?
I do not see ABC.
Ooh. We have to ask Patty that one. Not for aircraft, ooh, look at this. Not for aircraft fires. Okay, inside the aircraft, you probably don't want to put that. You don't really want to breathe dry chemical inside a cockpit. That's why we don't really use it. Okay, energized electrical wiring and equipment, safety wire across a battery, anything like that would cause it to explode. Actually, I've welded with batteries before. Mission field, those of you headed to the mission field, you can get two 12-volt batteries. Hook one positive to a negative. Hook the negative to the piece of metal, and then hook a wire or a jumper cable of anything to a welding rod, and then you can lay down and weld for just about a minute or two. But it'll get your frame somewhere if you need to ever weld using two batteries. So, but also can create a really nice spark and fire. Class D, flammable metals, magnesium. Anyone ever seen a Volkswagen on the side of the road on fire? It's because they have glorious magnesium cases, okay, or blocks, as you would say on the block. What is magnesium? Magnesium is a renewable resource because God's making it over and over and over again. But the problem with it is it's super light and super flammable. It gets flammable because it gets very, very brittle. Okay, Lycoming, before all of us were born, Lycoming came out with a sump that was magnesium. As the aircraft would fly along on a IO-540, as they were flying along, the vibrations of the engine would cause the bolts to rattle just a little bit. Well, magnesium is extremely hard, but very brittle. And as the bolts would sit there and vibrate, the holes for the sump would begin to wear out. So as the pilot's flying along, get a little seepage of oil. A couple hours later, you'd have a flame. And so all of those engines were recalled because of magnesium sumps. Volkswagen has never recalled a magnesium case or block, but that's why they're air-cooled. The engine's at the back of the car. As they're driving along, no air gets to it, kaputs. We have a fire. Okay? Any HVACs in here? HVACs? HVACs? HVAC? Who's HVAC?
My dad has it.
Okay. Okay, did your dad ever pull like the little pieces of magnesium out of the boilers or out of the?
We didn't have boilers.
Oh, that's right. Okay. So heads up though, if they're pulling magnesium out of some of the old boiler systems like that, there'll be little chunks like that. When you light it, it's gloriously bright, like to the point where you gotta put sunglasses on. And it gets super bright and then gets super hot for about 5 minutes. It's about all you can look at. We won't call it Shekinah glory, but it's super bright, you know. Some of you get that theological joke, but whatever. A little theological.
They pull those out of boilers?
Yeah.
Oh. So that fire could just be inside the boiler.
Most of those were water systems though.
Yeah.
And so, transferred heat pretty well. But, yeah,
Where
pretty
was the
good.
magnesium going?
Where does it come from?
Yeah. The deposit of.
It is a mineral deposit, yep. I have to you're gonna give me a list. Can I cover that when we get to the mineral process? Okay, good. I only get like 4 days and then I teach another class, so we'll have a stinking long time. I think it's 23 days together. Yes.
I noticed it said classification BC.
On that one? Okay. All right, that's fine. Yes. Somebody else have a question?
Sure. No.
Okay. All right, so, we're doing good. 7:30, good. Used for, water, used for, on Class A fire, so upholstery, that type cloth, not recommended for grease, fuel, oil, water on oil fire. Doesn't go real well. Okay, electrical fire, water is a conductor. If you put water on electrical fire, you will feel the impact of that, okay? You're shooting water towards a fire. It's a conductor, therefore you're gonna feel some voltage going through your body. So never use on a metal fire, it's extremely explosive. Okay, CO2, fire extinguisher over here. Looks a little bit like this, a little bit longer hose. Uses on Class A, B, and C. There we go. Class A, B, and C. I did cover it. Okay. Does not have a gauge. Ooh, I think I said that twice already. It has a horn-type nozzle. Not all the time, but it normally doesn't have the cute little baby spray head like this because it wants to get that CO2 out in a hurry. Okay? Give you an idea today. If she brings one, CO2 fire extinguisher won't even use this much to put a jet fuel fire out, but it will use a whole thing, if not another. You'll probably use over half at least to put the jet fuel fire out, of the same size bottles. Is that correct?
You answered my question.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm confused by that. You said it will only use this much, and then you said it will use a whole.
Sure. So this is a dry type, dry chemical type. So to use a dry chemical type, we'll use about that much to put the same fire out that a CO2 bottle would.
Okay.
So this being less effective than a CO2.
You're saying CO2 compared to one of those.
CO2, you get a whole lot more power to it or ability to put a fire out quicker. Yep. Are we good? Yes, Isaiah.
Why would we ever use that then? The CO2 would be so much better.
It is
Cheaper?
way cheaper. And we got a gauge. CO2, you don't have a gauge. So if some student goes out and plays with a button, I have no way to know what's inside of it unless I weigh it. Of course, I don't know what it's supposed to. And yes, we already did put a fire out just a couple weeks ago. It wasn't a really big one. It was about like that. So every once in a while, students mess up on ignition. It's just, it happens every year. It's not a big deal, but when we go to start it, we usually have fire going out the intake when it should go out the exhaust. So when it comes out the intake, it gets a little excitable for just a minute, and then we put it out, okay? So that's why I use CO2s. Don't be offended. I require, because of being here now 5 years, that I require every new engine rebuild or every time we do magnetos on the first run to have 2 fire extinguishers. Because I had a student freeze my very first year. Got in the cockpit with a student. We just finished overhaul. We're doing an engine start. I had Christina in front, and I had a student here. On the Bonanzas, they had the great idea in the 1940s that they would put the gasculator right at the feet of the pilot. 6 inches forward of that is the exhaust pipe. And I said, if we have a fire, don't even hesitate. Put it out. Okay, so we had a fire. It was about a 12-footer, so about here, almost to the wall back there. And I saw everyone's eyes get real bright, you know. And Christina never missed a beat, just whoosh. I kept cranking, she put it out, and I looked at my student to the left and yelled, "Put it out!" And he just dropped the fire extinguisher. So ever since then, I require 2 fire extinguishers at all times on every new engine rebuild because I don't know that you get the timing right until we go in and start it. Okay? We showed him grace. Thankfully, Christina was on it. So it was a good one. It was a pretty serious one. So if confined to space, CO2 can be dangerous because it takes away the oxygen. You need that if you're going to put out a fire. Okay? Common sense, but uncommon sometimes. So that's also why we don't use CO2 in the cockpit. Pilot wants to keep flying after they put the fire out. Yes,
Halon doesn't replace the oxygen.
correct. Halon, or
It's powder.
halotron, there you go. Yep. Preferred for induction fires, I put that in there for my own enjoyment. CO2 is not as effective for a Class A fire as water, I put that in here too. All right, here we go. Halon, so there's halon. I gotta ask Patty if this is even good anymore, sorry. It was out of your book. So halons, most effective for B and C fire. You've got 1,000, 1,011, 1,200 series, 1,211 series, and 1,300 series. But now what do we call halon bottles? Halotron, hey, good listening. Even on your first Friday, it's kind of like your Friday, of school, so good. Halotron is the new name, code name. And any of those sporties, aircraft sprues, you can buy any of those Halotron. Here for us locally, we use Summit, GTW. There's a couple other fire companies that will be able to give us fire bottles. Okay? If I pull it, then we need to get it refilled. The only one that really is not a big deal is the ones like the dry chemical that has a gauge. If somebody's just playing with it, okay, fine. Okay, dry chemical, best for D-fire, but not for use. We're talking about, that one is specifically the type D classification fire extinguisher or D-fire. Corrosive to metal, especially aluminum. This is also quite corrosive itself. You'll see our fire, we have this large metal piece that we use for our fires. You'll see how corroded it is. That is truly for the dry chemical that has been sprayed on it for the last few years. Inspect a fire extinguisher. How do we know the fire extinguisher is good to go? Proper location. Where's it at? Is it on its hook? They have a hook. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, I just missed something. This is a dry chemical.
This is dry chemical, but also the other one in there that is just a class D style. The yellow fire extinguisher is just for metals.
Sure,
Okay.
so what's the difference between this dry chemical and that dry chemical? That this is a
Substance inside of it. This one is not for a D fire. It doesn't even say it for a D fire. But I said both. My point was they're both corrosive.
Okay. Yeah, gotcha, thank you.
Yeah. All right. So safety seal broken, unbroken. So you'll see Lyle. He walks around at least once or twice a week, checking to make sure these are on here. Okay. When we start engine runs, I make you pull the pin. So he'll come around. He'll replace. If it has a red one, he's replaced it. If it has a black one, that's originally from Summit. So if I ask you to pull a pin, I'm not joking. I want you to literally pull a pin. If we're gonna do an engine run, I just have you pull a pin. I don't care. These cost 10 cents. We're gonna have a pin out of there. I don't want you to think about it. Okay. I don't want that hazard like, man, was that a fire? You're just gonna shoot the fire right off the bat. So. We'll be pulling lots of pins this year. But you pull the pin firmly, boom. Today you'll pull the pin. If she has them, yeah, she'll have them probably all pinned. Pull the pin firmly and then squeeze. But we have a little code, I'll go through it, PASS, on how we approach a fire. PASS, you'll need to have that memorized in the next 20 minutes. I'll go through what it means, okay? Gauge is operable range. When you're checking it out, even as a mechanic, and you climb into Cheddar's airplane, and you say, hey, your halon bottle is too low. Do I need to let him know that? Yeah. You get this requirement, and that Kirk's really going to hit it hard on you guys. Where if I see something, I got to tell you. Now, doesn't mean I walk into every hangar saying, oh, man, I see something there. You know, but, for example, I was working on one of my students' airplanes in here 2 years ago. He had a nice 182, and he had an oil cooler that was leaking. And I said, hey, you got an oil cooler leak? He's like, yeah, can you change it? I said, I'll help you change it. So we changed it, and then as as I'm putting the oil cooler, torquing it, I'm going to do the cowling, and I get to the bottom, and I see that his boots are busted for the steering linkage. And that's the number one source to put pilots to sleep. It's carbon monoxide poisoning. Because it will come up and they don't know it. You know, it's an odorless gas. Well, it's kind of an odor exhaust smell, but carbon monoxide is very dangerous. And it is notorious for coming in Cessna boots. And I said, hey, you got your boots are busted. I said, I'll sign the oil cooler off, but you need to know that you're really not supposed to be flying. I had to do that, right? He's the owner-operator, but I had to tell him, what does he say? Change them. And I said, no, I'll help you change them. So, we got his boots changed. It was like $160 for the boots. They're Kevlar material. Save his life. Cheap money. $160 on your own aviation is like, oh, yeah. So we were able to, you know, while you're looking around. So if you're inside a cockpit and you realize a halon bottle has been damaged or the gauge, somebody's been spinning the gauge or kicking the gauge, you gotta fix it. What's so funny? You guys good?
I went to look up boots and then I forgot to put any context in that and I just got red wing.
Okay. All right. All right, so make sure there's no nozzle obstruction, but I would suggest that you don't sit here with your hand back here and look down the barrel, okay? All right, no previous damage, nobody's dropped it, it's not deformed. Okay, identifier fire extinguisher, they have done a very good job in the last couple of years identifying where all the fire extinguishers are, okay? You should be able to walk around the shop and be able to see where fire extinguishers are located based on the signage. Okay, they have a yellow box around them, okay? That means nothing's supposed to be in the yellow box. What we have not figured out as a student or as SMAT group yet is because there's a yellow box, nothing should be blocking that yellow box as well. Even though you didn't park something in the yellow box, nothing should be parked in front. Because if I need to get to the fire extinguisher, well, I didn't park it in the yellow box. I don't care. Get it out of the way of the yellow box because I need to get there to get the fire extinguisher if there's a fire. Everybody clear? Don't put a trash can in front of it because then I got to move the trash can to get the fire extinguisher. Okay? So parked carts or anything like that, even where the engine stands are, there's fire extinguishers back there we cannot block. Okay? So location and markings. Everybody good? All right, good deal. So here we go. Pass, pull, aim, squeeze, sweep. Pull the pin. Aim it first before you start squeezing. Things you have to say, okay? So aim, pull, squeeze, sweep. So you're going to come in and you're going to be sweeping. Now, here's a problem. We get excited. We're like, man, there's a fire. I'm going to attack it like a bull, okay? So you're going to attack it. And you're going to run into this massive hot fire. Okay, no. Come in, yes, come in deliberately, but sweeping. And as you're going, you're going to run that fire to the opposite direction, okay? So pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. Everybody good? Everybody got it? If you don't have it, if you're writing it down, take a picture real quick. I'm going to the next slide. Okay? Today's a good example because if you think you've got all the fire out and you start backing away too early, jet fuel will relight if there's even a little bit of amber left. Just a little bit of embers. Any of that left on the metal, whatever it is, fire tray, I guess it is. Okay, so CO2 fire extinguisher is preferred by us when we're running engines. Fire guard familiar with induction and exhaust system. We'll go through if we have an induction fire, but we'll hit that on Tuesday. So those of you who are like, what happens when we have fire? I'm running an engine. Relax, I'll cover it Tuesday, I promise. Fire guard observes all safety procedures while standing during an engine start. So listen to me. When we're starting an engine, yes, someone is in front of the aircraft, but you need to be a safe distance away. Not too far, that way I can put a fire out. Once they start and it's smooth running, you can back up out of the way. But I'm not this close to Geese while he's running the engine, okay? Right off the prop thinking, man, I'm ready for it, okay? You want to be at a good safe distance, if that's the front of the aircraft or his computer's in front of the aircraft, I need to be a good safe 8 to 10 feet minimum away from that, okay? CO2, you've got a 10 to 12 foot range, pretty good 10 to 12 foot range, and I can come in towards it while I'm hitting it, okay? Because that prop's gonna keep spinning if there's a fire. All right, let's watch a couple older videos here. And I'm gonna speed them up because they do the video like, they'll do the video and then they replay it like 3 or 4 times, okay? If you have a question, fine, we can hit the question, I'll be happy to. But let's look at a spill type fire. Okay?
Yeah, I
Very
did.
similar to what we're doing today. Spill will black like that. I can do it again, slow-mo here. But very similar to the fire you'll be putting out. It'll be billowing black smoke like this everywhere. And notice how he's not shooting at the top, he's shooting at the bottom. You pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. Yes, sir.
Do you suggest walking up to where the fire starts before the entire fire?
He has to. It's so big. He has to. Okay? But yes, if you get it on your clothing, it could be dangerous, especially an oil-based or petroleum-based product. Good. All right, we have an obstacle fire. I'm sorry.
Okay, are you ready, partner?
Hey!
Open up! Again! Go around! Arrow! Back away! Fire's out.
Back up. And I think you'll probably see it light up again today. All right. Let's go to the next one. In-depth fire. Okay, we have a tray very similar to this.
Still trying to get down in the base.
Yep, he's trying to get down in the base, but he's walking away. Yes, sir?
Do we have to ID fires before we like get it extinguisher? Like, or is it pretty easy when you count down?
Yeah, I mean, if you're in the metal shop, grab the yellow one. If you're out on airplanes, grab a CO2. But, yeah, this one gets kind of violent. This one gets kind of violent. Notice that the gentleman's not chasing the top. He's chasing the bottom, but he's coming towards it. It's a pretty severe fire there. Oh, sorry. There we go, gravity fire. So, an oil barrel.
So it's also work your way from, in this situation, from the worst of the fire up to the source of fuel.
Yeah, absolutely, yep, correct. But there, he's working it kind of down, look at that. I think where it's dripping from is what he's doing. That looked like a dry chemical, didn't it? Left a pretty large. Okay, I'm gonna give you a break, and while you're on break, I'm gonna open a fire lab, okay? And then we're gonna meet, I want us to meet with your safety glasses out by the 210 at 8 o'clock sharp. Okay, everybody clear?
Sir.